Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you how I draw hands. So let's get right into it. And if you like this video, let me know if you want to see more tutorials from me by leaving a like on this page. So let's get started. Alright, so usually when I draw a hand, I usually start from the palm. I'm a cartoonist by heart, but whether you're doing something for cartoons or something, or going for something realistic, typically I like to start with the palm first. I'll just put a circle down just to give a general range of where I want to start, and then what I'll do is I'll shape the palm kind of like a rounded off kind of a square, just to show the direction which way I want the hand facing. So pretend this area here is like the front of my palm, and I want to put this hand so the thumb is on this side here, with the finger down here. And what I'll do is I'll label where my fingers are gonna go with like ovals and little like cylinder shapes. So put the crease for the thumb there. And what I'll do is I'll start drawing additional smaller circles. Now what I'm doing first is deciding which way my fingers are facing, where the tip is, where's the front, and I'm dividing each finger into two separate parts with the joints in between. Your knuckles and the joints of the finger are gonna have these little indents on top where they bend. And as you can see, I'll shape each section of the finger kind of like a little slice of a hot dog, kind of like if you were chopping hot dogs up. And this is basically the outline of how my fingers are going to be shaped, just a basic skeleton. And then I'll go in between each finger, and wherever it's visible, I'll put in that little web look. Some of it's going to be hidden behind other pieces of the finger. Once you're going to bend, the thumb should be bent out away from the palm, and then it finds its way back. Just for reference, I'll draw a little bit of the arm. Here's the shoulder. And the head is probably like off screen right here. Draw the neck. And that's like basically how I'll start to sketch a hand to begin with. So let's take it back a little. Let's draw something a little more basic. So we can get a better understanding of how I do this. Let's do it again. Now let's pretend this is our arm sticking up from the bottom of the page, and we'll pretend that this area here, this is your wrist. So like I said before, I'll start with like a kind of a rounded off square. Usually the arm is almost kind of shaped like a cone with a flat surface to the hand. So I'll make the hand just slightly wider than the actual wrist is usually. Cut this off at the top. Let's move this over a little bit so we can make room. And we'll draw another fist like the front of this video, but we're gonna slow it down some. So first, I want to put the thumb on this side. So I'll draw like a little circle to indicate that piece of body part that starts at the base of the thumb. And I'll treat this like the first slice of that hot dog, only this is a lot bigger. This makes up like a third of the hand. Like when I draw hands, I'll start with the square, then I'll cut off a corner of it with a circle, and that's where my thumb goes. So if I was to put the other part of it. Probably put it like, let's put it like here. We'll just draw another their finger part there. So there's always like a crease here on top of here. And sometimes, depending on how fat the hand is or the age of the character, there's sometimes a crease here. There's always like a little line here. That's like the blood vessel to the hand, like the main artery or so. Draw the knuckle to connect the thumb. Now when I'm doing hands, I kind of treat the skin as if it was a glove, because I mean basically your skin is basically a glove over your flesh and bones, if you think about it that way. Now the front of your index here is going to be a little foreshortened. Like here's the front where the knuckle would go for that connecting part, and I'll draw that down. Then behind the thumb, I'll draw the end of that finger. And I'll just keep this pattern, rounding them off as I go, all the way to the pinky. You got kind of a basic hand. Kind of looks like a kid's hand. Probably could have did the fingers a little bigger, but it's just a demonstration. Now this is usually like a hard line down to this part of the hand, a little shadow here. And of course that's where your fingernails would be. The end of it. No, let's do another fist. Let's start from the front. And if you want me to go over foreshadowing, like I said earlier, leave a like to let me know if I should keep making these or not. And I'll do another video on foreshadowing, because you can't really touch on hands without going into a little foreshadowing. So we're going to draw a fist from a frontal view. A little M shape as the knuckles go up and down in this hill formation. Just keep up the same pattern. Now, what you want to keep in mind is starting from your index finger closest to the thumb down to the pinky, your fingers should gradually be getting smaller as you work your way down to the pinky. Because there's an order of size, starting with your index, and the next one's slightly smaller, then the next one is just slightly smaller in size, down to the pinky finger. Draw a little bit of the palm there. Round off this side. Something like that. Draw a little line here to indicate where the knuckles been. Yeah, I'm gonna try to draw an arm to that. Let's do some other stuff with the fingers. Let's draw one. Let's just put it here for now. Let's draw one that's pointing. We'll do some gestures. So I'm just gonna start with the tip because it's gonna be in front. Put another circle on the back. I'm gonna come through it a little bit for planning purposes. So I did a little bit of foreshortening with this one, where the fingers, the pointing finger is a lot larger than the rest of it. Like if I was to keep going into the arm, into the person, I would draw the forearm and then the biceps slightly smaller to keep up that foreshortening. Into the head, way back here. And then this would be his torso and into his body like this. And I'm just realizing I drew the thumb on the wrong side. So real quick, let's pretend we want to change that. Got a little ahead of myself making this. I was just gonna put the thumb on this side so we wouldn't see it. Wait a minute. Huh. And that's not where the index goes. I completely messed that up. So this is what we do. We start over. Ha. So if he was pointing like that, the fingers would actually be on this side. With the thumb on this side. It's a little more dramatic. And if I was to again do that foreshortening, like a little shadow in here. Into his bicep. Like that. Now I'm leaving that mistake I made at first in this video because a lot of people come to me for, a lot of my friends come to me for drawing tips, and I feel like they're afraid of making mistakes. I always tell people just dive right on in and try it. And I stated this in another video too. You can't be afraid of making mistakes because that's how we learn. I'm gonna draw two hands this time. Just gonna plan my drawing out. So I'm gonna put one hand on his arm while his other hand is here. I'm just using basic shapes to start my drawing with. That would be the pinky. This should actually be a little shorter if it's the pinky. I always tell people, start with basic shapes. Make your life a whole lot easier. I'm gonna draw the whole body. Alright, what do we want to do? One thing I want to inform people, if you want to make hands look kind of, what's the word? Believable. I've noticed that we humans have a tendency to kind of fan our fingers, I want to say, when they're like idle. So if I draw a hand, kind of like this one up here, I'll do this again, where I have the front of it, tilt it up some. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So when our front fingers, other than the thumb, are kind of idle, we have this tendency to kind of fan or curl them. So there's this like arch, like, use red, like this, and I'll kind of make this like arch shape that's formed by like the tips of the finger, especially when I'm doing like comic characters and stuff. Because when we move our fingers, unless we're distinctively trying to make a certain hand gesture, we kind of move them in like kind of like a rhythmic pattern. When one moves, they all move like one after the other, kind of. So if they're just out like this, I always try to put the tips of my fingers on this like sort of constant line. When a character's hands are kind of idle, or they're just in the air, or just sitting at his side or something like that. Speaking of sitting at the side, I'll do one sitting at the side. So it's like the front of there's like the back of a character's hand. And a lot of times, if the fingers are real together, I have to draw the shape of them all together, kind of like a fingerless glove, like a winter glove someone might have on. And this one's real simple to do too. Let's try to do something a little more complicated. Let's do something like this. I'm gonna do a peace sign. So I'm actually gonna draw some lines this time for the top two, just to plan out the direction I want to put the fingers in. Making my little hot dog shapes again. Oh, one thing I want to stress is when to put creases on your fingers. Like I did one here at the thumb. And I'm gonna try to... Actually, should be a little more space between these two. There should be like a webbing between each finger. Same thing for your toes too. And to me, in between each finger, where it joins, it kind of like indents, kind of. Especially around the bottom. Let's draw a little crease for where the hands divide. Oops. Freaking eyedrop tool keeps coming up by mistake. We'll do this one where this right here is the front of my palm. I'm gonna put the thumb up here. This is da, 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 da. Kind of hide the pinky back here because it has a tendency to kind of curl in towards your second to last finger. Try a little corner where the back corner of the palm goes. And this would be like your arm. I also do it that way. This could be better right here though. Oh, and don't be afraid to use your own hand as a reference. I'm looking at my hand now because I'm having trouble with this little area here. Let's see, what else can I do? Oh, should probably do some open palms more, huh? Let's do one with the palm facing up. We'll do two palms facing up. We'll do a little bit of body. Show where the hands are coming from. I should let's rush this so we can get some more details in. Let's raise this hand higher, do something a little more dynamic. Let him raise his hand. like he's looking at his hands and studying them. If we were to draw this, start with my main shape that we were going to construct from. His thumb's going to be on the outside for this. So now I want to put his thumb in front of his palm, but we're not going to see it from this angle, so I'm just going to do that where the knuckle would bend. Need a softer eraser, please. So he's studying his fingers. He's got his fingers outstretched some. I'm gonna lightly erase this. Lightly erase. I can still see what I planned. Draw my little phalanges in. And for the front of the fingers, like towards the tips, I like to, from the knuckle, I like to kind of downward dent it so it comes up. Then make it fat around the bottom of it. So like I did here, it goes towards the inside, up to the knuckle. Then I'll down it again. Actually, this is kind of long. Why do I have like, I double jointed that one. And as you can see, I did this little arc here where they all kind of lie on the same invisible line. I'm going to show a line here, like the thumb is hidden right there. Now, this one's going to be really close up. This is his forearm here. And my fingers out. I'm gonna have him kind of outstretched. I have his second finger almost pointing at the camera. I'm gonna indent his pinky here. Draw where the knuckles are. I want the skin to kind of come around here like his hand is curved, so I'm still going to draw the knuckle, but it's not going to be at the edge. So this one kind of blurry. The knuckles here. Place for a second there. Where am I facing this finger? Oh. See, his thumb's gonna be on the outside, so we're gonna let the thumb kind of hang out here. We'll put the end of his palm. Maybe not that high.
It's all about turning the worst into fine. It's all about time and the work and the climb. From the thirst we will rise, I'm immersed in this life. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth. Just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your
I
time
just
and
can't
your
keep
worth.
that
Just
here.
focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth. Just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth. Just focus on yourself first.
Alright. And that's basically how I draw hands. You guys want me to go over stuff more in depth, or if you have any questions, leave a comment. If you want me to keep making these, please leave a like to let me know whether or not I should keep bringing you these videos. And do consider leaving a follow. Thank you and peace out.